Hello, everybody, and welcome to an episode of Hustle and Grit. My name is Mark Blumhardt. I'm the founder and CEO of Bootstrap & Co. Creative Studios, and today we're going to be answering how you can become a creative director. Hello, everybody. Today's question is, how do I become a creative director? It's a question that was sent in from a former student of mine. His name was Brian, and he took one of my classes at Wittenberg University. I think it was leadership and ethics. And so shout out to Brian, and thank you for a great question. The question is, how do I become a creative director? Now, this Brian, he might have spent way too much time watching Mad Men, but it's a perfectly good question, so let's unpack it tonight. The first thing that I would like to talk about is what exactly does a creative director do? Now, you can think about Mad Men. You can sit there smoking. We don't sit around smoking all day. But what we do is we really change the lives of people within organizations, and we change those organizations, hopefully, for the much better. There's a huge difference. There's a continuum, really, in creative directors. You've got, somebody might call themselves a creative director, and he's managing a print shop in a small town of 13,000 people. On the other end of the continuum, you've got creative directors that work on Madison Avenue, and they work with huge juggernaut brands, and these brands are affecting people on all continents of this planet. So we're going to be talking a little bit more about the latter and how and what it takes to become a creative director in such a shop. So stick with me, and if I don't answer any of the questions, make sure you email me, and I'll address it in the next episode. There are two basic kinds of creative directors out there, right? The first kind, tell you what, that person just got lucky. They might have an accent or something like that, and Madison Avenue says, oh, we'll throw them out in front of clients and they'll just sell. They might have a couple good ideas, become a creative director. They just got lucky, folks. The problem with those folks is that many times you can see them lived a very short creative lifespan. They really don't have that much deep respect for the people around them because they just got a job. Nobody really knows how they got the job. They just got it. So can't really say that's the best way, most secure, solid, deliberate way of becoming a creative director. The second way takes a little bit longer. And that means you go through the process. When I say that process is that if you're looking at creative direction or becoming a creative director in your career, then you've got to land in a pretty good size creative company. Somebody that's working with, decent sized brands. Now you can land a job as an industrial designer, fashion designer, graphic designer. You can even land a job as a copywriter. I've seen some guys land jobs as with a background in psychology or sociology. But you kind of need to have a hard science or hard skill set, whether it's drawing or writing, something that company can sell. And when you start out, you're kind of starting out at the bottom, and you really need to earn your stripes. You kind of have to pull in from everybody, have a little bit of humility, because these people are dealing with challenges at a scale. Let's say your boss, the actual creative director, they're dealing with problems that they don't even know how to express to you. Problems with billing, problems with clients, problems with travel, problems with leading the studio, cash flow, and everything else like that. And if you're like me, you start out and you think that you know a lot of stuff, then it makes it a little difficult, if you will, because you're just so focused on your little problem that you really can't see the bigger picture. So if you find yourself in that situation, just from me, an old guy that's been there, just kind of slow down a little bit, embrace the challenge, and just learn all you can from as many people as you can. And after a while, that becomes the experience, and hopefully you develop a skill set at the same time to make yourself incredibly valuable. Now, there's a couple skills that you need to have in order to become a great creative director. We talked about leadership, and this is a different kind of leadership than leadership that you'll find almost anywhere else. okay? You're dealing with verbal overshadowing. We talked about hard skill sets. So for example, the path that I took, I was an industrial designer, and I went to Columbus College of Art and Design, landing a job in Interbrand or Design Forum from my drawing skills. A client would come in, let's say it's Ferrari or Lamborghini or Home Depot or Mini Cooper or whatever, Starbucks, and we would have to come up with solutions for that store, literally sometimes on the spot. So you have to be quick. You have to be quick with your pen. You have to be clear thinking. That's what companies are paying you for. Now, when you're a junior developer or junior designer, many times you'll sit there and you think that your opinion's worth something. But when you're straight out of school and you don't have the experience that you really need to have as a creative director, it's really important to understand the difference between your opinion and experience and knowledge of the industry. So you can sit there and you can be like, well, people will buy this, but you got to stop for a second. The CEO that's paying you and your company huge money for solutions, he's not looking or she's not looking for opinions. They've got friends that they drink with. They got family members. They got people all around them. They'll give them opinions. So another advice, the second word of advice I can give you is, if you've got opinions, get rid of them. Find out real hardcore industry knowledge. Start reading and read ferociously. And that will kind of muscle you past that stage of having a lot of opinions. Because I'm telling you what, if you go into a boardroom with a lot of opinions, that CEO will eat you alive. Think about that. Let that settle in for a second. If you're going to go this route, if you're going to become a creative director, you've got to have experience and you've got to have knowledge. The third thing that you need to have passion. And the reason I say passion is because it's a very, very difficult field, right? Every time you go through a brand, it feels like in some ways you just lose a little bit of your soul, right? You just left a little bit more on the table. Something was gone. Something's missing, if you will. You've got to have passion to keep the fire going. And you have to have passion because you've got to be able to sell. So if you come to the table with a bunch of knowledge, a bunch of textbooks that you've written, you're not going to get anywhere. As a creative director, some of the best creative directors are able to sell their ideas like there's no tomorrow. And the way they're able to sell their idea is, first of all, they've got creative knowledge industry, let's say knowledge of the industry. They've spent a lot of time on that brand. They spent enough time on that brand that they really feel it and they really believe in it at a very, very deep level. And as they're pitching it to the shareholders, they're able to express this with passion and they're able to persuade people. The last thing you need to have is style, folks. All right? This is something that's very difficult to find, very difficult to cultivate, but you've got to have a personal style. You've got to have a style that's magnetic. You can have all the answers in the world. You can have the passion. You can have the knowledge. You can have all of that, but you've got to have style because style is the fuel that drives the engine for success. Hopefully that answers a lot of your questions on how to become a creative director. I'm sure this might start a lot more questions than answers, so feel free to call us, write us, text us. We'd love to continue the dialogue, but for now, folks, I'm out of here. Thank you so much and see you next time on the next episode of Hustle and Grit.